What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Stocks to Watch. And I know what you guys are thinking. What is going to happen to the markets tomorrow because of Iran and Israel's, retaliatory conflict, and what's going to happen? US is going to intervene. Russia is going to come in the middle. Whatever happens, we've seen that the Israeli market did not react a lot. That's one. Number two is this has been happening for a long period of time. Yes, it has been escalated, but I don't really think that's going to have an impact on the Indian markets, and neither do I think it's going to have an impact on the American markets either. With that being said, let's get started. No matter what happens, if the market gaps down, if the market gaps up, although gap up is not really on the cards, but if it opens up flat or if it gaps down, I think stocks are still going to move based on their strength, based on fundamentals, based on technicals. So I don't really think there's going to be big action now in the middle of the market tomorrow, maybe around 12:30 when the European markets open. Maybe we could see like some big action because again, for India, Israel-Iran conflict is not that important, but what's really important is elections around the corner, and there are a lot of places where BJP is kind of on the backseat. So that is not something that the market would like. So again, it's very very important for the elections to go according to the market, because we all know that FIIs and institutional investors, they really appreciate a stable government and a government with a majority. So again, the next 10-15 days are going to be very very crucial, because majority of the polls are happening towards the last week of April. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first thing is we're going to look at the stocks that we had discussed on Thursday, and what's the action that happened on Friday. So first up is IRCTC. So I think we had a discussion about this. IRCTC actually moved really nicely. So we were observing IRCTC over here when we saw some good activity over here, and it did move up. So IRCTC did what was expected out of it. Semac again did the same thing, moved out of this base, breaking out. Tejo again, it's still ready. I think it's in my watch list for today as well. I think this is ready to move higher. Dudla Dairy, again, we had a discussion about this. This is just escalated past its entire range, so that's going to be interesting. We had a very good discussion about Lal Path Labs, and we also discussed Metropolis. So Metropolis opened with a big gap, and then it just closed in a very not so appealing manner. And apart from that, rest of the trades were pretty silent. I think Make Money Organics is a play which we just have initiated a position in. That's a disclaimer. Please do your own due diligence if you are trying to take a position. So we think, I personally think that this base is going to break out nicely, and I'm going to be targeting this high, and I'm also going to be targeting this high in Make Money. So MOL again doing really wonderful. I have a small position in Make Money, and I might add based on what the market does. So that was the recap of the previous day. Now let's focus on the stocks that are going to be on our radar for tomorrow. So first up is Tega. I mean, this is an auto OEM company, and mostly into engineering stuff. And now this has created a nice little base, EMA inching higher, and there's lots of liquidity to be taken on the upside. So Tega is going to be very very interesting. Another name which is Sona Comstar. So this is the previous trade that one of our analysts took. Now I'll speak about Tega, Sona BLW right now. So Sona Comstar, again, another very, very good name, creating a very nice little base, trying to move higher. All the supply is there at 786 areas. Now, although we saw a big volume spike over here, in this particular name, but what's more interesting is that this particular base that we kind of are trying to see over here, I think this is going to be interesting on how this plays out. So maybe a contraction here, and then we start spiking up. So again, Sona is not really ready, but I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it plays out. Another is Pearl Polymers. Now there is tons of supply over here, but if you just look at the base which this stock has created, I think it's just ready to explode. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how it reacts from here. Now there's lots of supply over here, so you have to be a little cautious. Next up is Manorama Industries. Now again, nice tight little base forming over here. I think we could probably expect this happen in Manorama tomorrow. Again, there was rejection from the highs, so we just have to see on how the stock reacts over here. But again, good stuff. Concord Biotech. Now this also has been basing for a nice good period of time, and then yes, we had a good volume day on Friday, but again the closing was not really as expected. So again, if the stock starts, going beyond this range, I mean, if the stock starts to kind of move here and then maybe does this is what I'm expecting on a lower time frame. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now Tejo again comes back into the watch list. As I said, nice little base, could move higher. Next up is Innova CapTab, and I think this is also pretty good. Like, it liquidated every single one over here, so all the stops triggered, and now I think it's ready, inching, very good contraction near the EMA. I think this is also going to be set. But again, from all of them, I think till now Tega is the only good one. The only problem is Tega has moved for 4.5%. I mean, it's going to be tricky to trade, but Navneet, I think this is the one. Now, Navneet Education, a leader of the past, coming back, creating a nice little base near the EMA. I think this is going to be crazy. Nice little volume dry up over here, so you can clearly see that volumes is dried up, and now we've got like a clear, signs of contraction happening, and then we've got like this big good green candle. I think there's good opportunity in Navneet. Any position over here with like a six odd percent stop, I think could target these highs. So I think this could really be interesting, Navneet. So keep a watch out on that. Now again, just a disclaimer: although I am a SEBI registered research analyst, but this is not a financial advice. Make sure that you are consulting your financial advisor and you're doing your own due diligence. Next up is Edelweiss Financial Services, again doing nice little things. We've seen what Anand Rathi has done, moving really nicely. The only problem, however, is this supply here, and then finally all the liquidity over here. So this can surprise a lot of people if it starts moving higher tomorrow. But again, I still feel these supply areas are going to be a little bit of a problem. But again, if the intraday structure sets up nicely, I think this is going to be interesting. Another top name on my list has to be Westlife Development. I think I've spoken to you about QSR. We've spoken about Devyani, we've spoken about RBA. We've also spoken about Sapphire Foods. So I think Westlife, which is the master franchisee for North India McDonald's, I think this is going to do well. Setting up really nicely, volume try up, very interesting stuff. Now Sula did move out of the base, came back inside the base, again tried to move, but didn't really close nicely. So again, Q4 update was good with the as far as Sula is concerned, and I think there is a lot of activity over here. So technically this is not looking as good as we want to see, but if you go to the hourly, I think this is what's happening. And maybe if this happens, I'm going to take an entry, and I'm going to expect this in Sula. So I think this looks pretty solid, could have a lot of action. So Sula, keep this on your watch list. Now Vijaya Diagnostics. So again, I'll just remove this first. Now Vijaya Diagnostics has been, it's just been struggling after this move higher. The base is not really that good, but there is tons of liquidity in the upside to catch. So it's going to be interesting to see on how this one plays out. But if you see, this is its IPO high, and currently, again, as I just said, it's going to be difficult for the stock to move out of this range because of all of this supply. So if it's able to take out this entire region nicely, and if it bases around, I think that's going to be good one to watch. Next up, I think I've already spoken about MOL, which is Make Money Organics. Now I'll just move to Kirloskar Pneumatic, and again, very good base. Now Kirloskar brothers surprised everybody by doing like very bad action, but there is some supply over here, but the structure is good. Contracting around the EMA is exactly what we need to look for. Again, similar structure, Borosil Renewables, again not a good closing, but I think tomorrow could be the day for this to happen. So interesting stuff. There could be some nice action. Now we've seen you know uh, a lot of other names like Asahi underperform for a long period of time. So I think let's see if this sector starts moving higher. VTL, Vardhaman Textiles, I think we had a discussion about this day before yesterday, I think on Wednesday. Moved out of the base, and I think it has unlocked a lot of new potential. So I think Vardhaman Textiles would definitely be on my watch list. Zydus Wellness is another name. The only concern is supply over here, but I think with the overall structure setting up nicely, and we've seen pharma names do relatively better. I mean, large cap pharma no, but mid cap pharma has done decently, and they are also Zydus Wellness is also like into diversified, not only into pharma but again into FMCG plays as well, and we've seen some other FMCG companies do occasionally well. So going to be interesting to see on how this plays out. IOLCP, another very, very solid name. So from this entire list, I think for me, Navneet, Westlife, Sula, MOL, which I am already in, I think, and VTL, they are the top ones. IOLCP will also come into that category. Specialty chemicals, I've been vocal about this. Specialty chemicals have done really well. So keep this on your watch list. TCI Express, nice little contraction over here, freight and courier logistics, company contracting above the EMA. I think this is a good bullish action, and then powered by consolidation. I think this is like a typical textbook trade. Keep your stops over here. I think maybe stops around 44, 45 points, and then just target within 2 or 3 weeks, just target 5 times the risk that you've taken. So I think this is very much doable. Iris Business Services, again, not exactly something that is set up. Again, a circuit stock. So keep very close watch on this. So could be interesting. Next up is Foseco India. Very nice little contraction over here. So it's slightly far away from the moving averages. But we've seen good volume activity here, volume dry up over here. Earnings coming up on 25th of April, so could be interesting to see. But again into chemicals. So chemicals is something that I'm really a big fan of currently. Geo Financial Services is most likely to do this. That's my opinion. But maybe if the markets do well, this could start spiking higher. It has to come here and maybe do something. It does something like this, and then it starts spiking up. So that is going to be something better. Masfin, again, not ready yet, but just keep this stock on your radar. Same goes with TCS. IT companies are setting up occasionally well. The interesting part about TCS that I like is this unfilled gap. I think this gap is there for the taking, right? And now this contraction could be interesting to see. So again, we'll see how this works out. Next up is Nilkamal, and now this is again contracting really nicely, and we've seen its reaction from its order block plus high volume activity consolidation. So I think this is just setting up for a squeeze. Now even if I go check out like a smaller moving average, I think it's just squeezing near this, and I think there could be some good activity coming up here. So just watch out on this as well. Manappuram Finance, again, too far away. It has done decent job, but I think this is just signs of exhaustion. So maybe it does this, comes here, contracts a little bit, and then starts moving higher. So again, good one. We spoke about this over here. It made a move, but now I think this is most likely liquidated the highest. So again, I'll actually remove this from the watch list. Tata Consumer, again, as I spoke about consumer stocks, making a nice little rounding bottom. Now again, not a fan of the pattern, but I think what the price is trying to do is it's just trying to move out of this small range. And until this supply, I think there's clear headway for it to move higher. So I think could be interesting. PVR Inox, from the day we had discussed this previously on the watch list, this is where we discussed stock popped up, created a small base, and now it is trying to, again, move out of this. And what you have to understand is there is so much room for this to move higher. I think until this supply, it has multiple room, a lot of room to move higher. So this is also interesting. MPS Limited, again, nice little contraction with the volume dry up, looks good. Supply is a problem, but I think overall worth kind of looking on my radar. Alkyl amines, and I think contracting nicely. Specialty chemical name, again, I'm a big fan. I think in the short term they can do really well. Maybe 1 or 2 days more of contraction could be ready to move higher. HPCL, again, I think we had discussed this yesterday also. Maybe some sort of a inside candle over here and then another move higher. So keep this on watch list, not yet ready, but I think that could work out. Varroc is at an important area of demand. I think it could start reacting from this tomorrow. What I like is this entire volume dry up. So I think this could be interesting to see. And again, there's a low risk reward trade over here. If you kind of get an entry over here, stops around maybe $10. I think this is a good enough stop for this, and then targets could be a break above the all-time highs. So I think this is a decent name. Again, it's a high risk reward setup, but the probability could be low depending on what Nifty does tomorrow. And it has basically gotten a lot deeper into this area, which I don't really like. But I think from a risk reward perspective, A plus. NLC India, again, it's just waiting for it to kind of squeeze out of this range, will be on my watch list. And Lodha, again, it's waiting to kind of come out of this range. So, again, real estate players have moved. I think Lodha needs a better basing. Maybe it comes deeper into this area and then maybe does something and then starts moving higher. So, that is what my expectation is. Now, again, just to sum it up, I think, Tega is the one to watch out for. Navneet, Westlife, Sula, MOL, VTL. Zydus Wellness is also good. IOLCP is good. Then I think TCI Express really really good. Apart from that, Nilkamal is interesting. Alkyl Amines is interesting and Varroc is interesting. So these are the names, and BVR Inox obviously. So these are the names that I'm going to be watching out for. If you're new here, consider subscribing because we put in a lot of effort and research to kind of get all of these stocks to you so that your life is easy. Do drop a comment. Which stocks are you going to be looking out for tomorrow amongst this list or maybe otherwise? And if you want me to check out any particular stock in the next episode, do drop in a comment. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. All the best for your trading week ahead. Thank you, bye bye, and take care.